Good morning, YouTube. I am Angie Sims. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back to my channel. I apologize if I'm speaking low. It is currently 6:56 my time, and my family is still sleeping, and I don't want to wake any of them up, but I needed to make this video. It's long overdue. This was supposed to be done last month, and I wasn't able to get to it. Just being busy as a mom, and then unfortunately I was in a car accident. Thank God brought okay. I just have a lot of bruising on my arm, which I'll probably show you guys towards the end of the video. So if it's something you don't want to watch, don't. So this video will be a mix between the books I've read in May and the books that I'm currently reading for June. In May, I did read 2 books. Tried to read 5, read 2, DNF 3. And I think the DNFs put me in a kind of a reading slump, but we'll get into that. The books that I read, I'm going through my reading journal here. I apologize for the dark video. Again, my family are sleeping. Okay. So the first book I read in May was In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. Now, this book was a reread. I've read this before. I enjoyed it before. It's one of my favorites. And I just had a hankering to reread it. And I reread it and I enjoyed it just as much as I did before, if not even more. I still highly recommend this book to anyone who likes thrillers. It's a really good book. This book takes place in a university. It kind of follows a group of friends who one of the friends in the group ends up being murdered, and nobody really knows who murdered her. But fast forward 10 years later, there's a class reunion, and all the friends get together and for this reunion, and turns out whoever killed their friend 10 years prior is also there. Yeah, I liked it. It was very fast paced. It kind of gives you an insight of college life with the sororities. Kind of makes you feel like you really wanted to be there with them. And yeah, it wasn't that big of a book. I think it was maybe a little over 300 pages, but definitely a really good read. I love the writing of this author. I definitely want to read more of this author, more books from this author. Yeah, so we'll definitely see. Oh, and I did give this book 5 stars. And the other book that I read in May was a short story called Death Row by Frida McFadden. Now, this is the first book of a new series called the Alibis Collection from Amazon. And it's a group of short stories that are, thrillers. And since I'm a huge fan of Frida McFadden, and I saw she was coming out with a book for that series, and I just had to read. I love her books. I've been trying to slowly read all her books. Um, and this one didn't disappoint. I did give this one 4 out of 5 stars, only because the ending left me completely confused. I might reread it again and see if I get unconfused, if that makes sense. It is fast paced. Basically, this book is about a woman who is sitting in death row for the murder of her husband, when one day, when she's talking to her lawyer in the visiting room, she looks over, and to her shock, is her husband sitting there talking to somebody else. So yeah, the story kind of takes off from there. She's trying to prove her innocence, trying to prove that, her husband is alive. He was literally right there, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, Freida McFadden has a way of making really good psychological thrillers with twists in the end. It's the biggest thing I've loved about her books is you think you know what's going on until you get to the end and you realize you were completely off track in a good way. That being said, so those are the 2 books that I did read and I did enjoy. Now, the 3 books that I DNF'd, one of them was The Tenant by Freida McFadden. I know, I'm just as disappointed. Now, that is her newest book that just came out. It actually came out around the same time Death Row came out. And I was enjoying the story, but it started to hint a lot of psychic content, and I don't like reading that. I don't believe in psychic content or witchcraft or any of that. As a devout Christian, I don't support that. I don't like reading that. So therefore, that was my reason for DNFing that book. Yes, I was disappointed because it was one of my favorite thriller authors. But that's okay. There's always going to be, some books that you won't like, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. The second book that I DNF'd, and I don't have them with me because I had borrowed them from the library and they're back at the library. But this book was called Broken Country. I had heard so much about this book. A lot of people were enjoying this book. And if I understand correctly, the way it's being described is a romance book written like a thriller. And so I thought that was kind of interesting because I love thrillers and I haven't really read that much romance books. So I thought I'd give it a try. And I don't know, it just wasn't doing anything for me. It was just kind of slow. It's like back in like the 20s or something like that. No, probably older than that. And to me, it just felt like I was reading historical fiction, and I've never been a big fan of historical fiction. So I ended up DNFing that one. And the last book that I read in May that I unfortunately DNF'd, I might give it another chance later on, and that's The Inheritance Schemes. Again, I really wanted to read that series. I've heard a lot of good reviews on that series, but just for me, it was just, I don't know, slow for me. Like, it wasn't really picking up. I don't know if it's because I was starting to get into a reading slump with these for whatever reason. I might give it a second chance down the road. I don't know. But for me, it was just too slow. Just too slow for my taste. But that was all the books I read for May. And for June, I got 2 more books from the library, and I started the first one, but I don't know if it's just me being in a reading slump that I'm having a hard time getting into books lately, or I'm just picking the wrong books for some reason. But the first one that I picked up was Enola Holmes, The Case of the Missing Marquess by Nancy Springer. I know it's kind of dark in here, so you can't really see the cover, but this is the first book in the Enola Holmes series that I've been wanting to read for the longest. And from my understanding, there is only 6 books in this series. They're very small, as you can tell. And right now, I am currently on chapter 3. And it's really hard to describe how I feel about the book. I'm liking it, but I'm also not liking it. Like, I love the story. I've seen the movies. But I feel like it's moving. I know I keep saying slow for everything, but I feel like it's just moving a bit slow, and I'm really hoping it picks up its pace as I try to read on. I really wanted to get into the Enola Holmes book since I enjoyed the movies. So we'll see as I read on and see what happens. And the other book that I got from the library, this one I might have to renew it tomorrow because I haven't even gotten a chance to read it. And this one is called A Time to Die. And I know it's dark, so you can't really see the cover. But this is about a young girl. Let's see what her name is. Parvin. And she lives in a world where your lifespan is basically you have a time clock. Once that time clock ends, you die. And this girl Parvin, her time clock is about to end. And basically, she lives in a world that's kind of similar to the Hunger Games, where you have the districts, and then you have where President Snow is, and how he controls the districts and what happens there. And one of the rules where she lives is you are not allowed to share your time with anybody. It's considered illegal. And Parvin gets caught sharing her time with her twin brother, and as a punishment, they basically not literally throw her over the wall, but they basically send her on the other side of the wall to survive this battle, kind of similar to the Hunger Games. And if you win, obviously, your time clock gets renewed. If you understand that. But her goal is to not only save herself, but to save her people before time runs out, basically. And this kind of appealed to me because the way they described it is if you really enjoyed the Hunger Games, then you'll enjoy this book. It's very similar to the Hunger Games. How many are in here? Oh, okay, so this is part of a trilogy called the Out of Time series. And this is the first book. The second book is A Time to Speak. And then the third book is A Time to Rise. As you can see, this is a fat book. I don't like that the font is incredibly tiny. I might try to see if my library has this book as an ebook that I can download on my Kindle, where I can see the font bigger. But yeah, so those are the two books that I've got so far for June that I want to get through. If I don't get to them when they're due, I'll definitely try to find the ebook version of them for my Kindle and then read them on my Kindle. There is 2 or 3 other books that I would like to get from the library to read for the month of June. Will I be able to read all 5 books in the month of June? I don't know. I know we're already about to go into the second week of June already. And I don't know, we'll see. I know in the next couple of weeks we've got a vacation planned, so probably won't be doing much reading then. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably make another video to show my my new reading journal, what it looks like right now. I'm still debating whether or not I want to add the DNFs in my journal. I haven't decided yet if that's something I want to do. I might just make like a DNF list and attach it somewhere to the journal, maybe. But yeah. Other than that, that's it. I do got more videos planned. A lot more arts and crafts stuff I want to go over and show you guys. But until then, it's time for me to say bye-bye. If there's any other books that you recommend that you didn't see me talk about or hear me talk about, don't be afraid to comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. And just, spread the word. Tell your friends and family about my channel and have them subscribe to my channel. The more the better. I'm not doing this for money. I do this because I enjoy reading, I enjoy arts and crafts, and I enjoy talking to you guys. It's my hobbies that I like to share with you guys. Yeah. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.